Somewhere in a dusty, dirty back alley in western Arizona, not far from historic Route 66, is an old fart trying to square head into a round hole. He'll work on anything just as long as it's got at least 2 cool wheels.
So just a brief update on the Cougar project. You guys saw me pull a used engine out of a junkyard and make it work in a car many decades older than the engine. So we had to do a little bit of adapting and modifying, but it's actually worked out pretty well. The old Cougar runs really good. Let me show you what else I did. Well, we had to add a fuel pressure regulator because, well, we were over juicing the carburetor and just idling. There was fluid, gasoline kind of churning out from every crack and crevice. So evidently the pressure was greater than the needle and seat could withstand, and that's pretty typical. These electric pumps, they can deliver a little oomph. So we did that, and she runs really good now. I got her kind of dialed in pretty good. It's not 100%, but I never claimed to be a tuner, so to speak. Kind of the biggest problem I have now is, well, I don't know if you can tell, is there's not a lot of clearance. And when I shut the hood, well, I can't hardly squeeze an air filter in there. I have this air filter. It's a fairly low profile air cleaner housing. And when you put it on the carburetor, it sits down over it. But even with this air cleaner, as narrow as it is, it's just a little bit too tall. I can't quite shut the hood. So I'm working on it. I'll come up with something. I got a low profile air cleaner on eBay, and it was too tall. So it was not low enough profile. So right now, the way it stands, the length of this stud is right at the hood. I need an air cleaner that can't be any taller than this. So I'm working on it. Okay. The next issue that we had with this is, well, we noticed that our oil gauge, when the engine was not running, it showed 60 psi, and when the engine was running, it showed 0 psi. So the oil pressure sending unit was the wrong one. So here's what I did to resolve that issue. So crawling in from here, I removed the pressure sending unit that came with this engine, and then the old engine had this long attachment adapter tube thingy, and I installed the original pressure sending unit. So now it reads oil pressure when there's actually oil pressure there. In order for me to get to all that stuff, I had to remove the oil cooler that was right here. So I don't know if you remember looking at the engine. Originally there was an oil cooler here. It had 2 coolant hoses that came out and tied into the cooling system, and then the oil filter sat over here at a different angle. So I removed that, and there's the oil cooler that I removed. So I could probably use it on something else that, if you think it needs cooling. And then the other thing that I was concerned about was that when I put that adapter in, let's see if we can get it on here. When I put that adapter in, I'm kind of pointing to it there, that adapter for the power steering pressure hose, it pushed the pressure hose back to the point where it's up against the exhaust manifold. Let me see if I can zoom in. So I got a little piece of insulated material. It's actually exhaust pipe wrap you would use on a motorcycle, and I put it. You can see the hose is wrapped. Even though it doesn't quite touch the exhaust manifold, it now has some protection. Let's see if you can see it from this angle. There's not a lot of light. We're kind of in a light free zone here. Let's see if I can. Well, anyway. So I got it insulated. Another thing I've got on order is this boot for the steering rack. You can see it's pretty much shredded. This is our power steering ram. It's not really a rack, it's a ram. So I got that ordered. It's on its way. I'm also missing the detent or downshift linkage that's supposed to go for this. Goes to my throttle pedal, and then there's supposed to be a lever right here coming out of the transmission, so when you stomp on it, it kicks down a gear or two, and that shaft is broken off inside. So this was never on the car to begin with, so I'm gonna have to get that shaft. I'm gonna have to drop the pan and go up inside and replace that downshift. But you know, I can just grab the handle and give it a yank when I go to downshift. So we haven't yet done the heater core on it yet, and you can see the heater hoses are disconnected. I've got heater hoses routed so they can be reconnected once we put a new heater core in it, and we have yet to connect the air conditioning compressor. I've got to adapt the existing hoses to work with the newer type AC compressor, but we'll get that done. Those will be other videos in the future. We need to put a sound system in it as well, and of course, well, bodywork and paint. And as you can see, the birds have shit all over it. You can tell what their opinion of the car is. This car originally was a vinyl top car, and thank goodness somebody removed the vinyl top so that the top didn't turn to rust. However, the drawback is that there are holes that were used for the vinyl top molding that were not properly welded up, and instead somebody just put Bondo over the holes, which just doesn't hold up, so rainwater can get through. That's why I put the tape over those holes, just to keep rainwater out. And you can see that, well, this quarter panel has been reworked before. There's a nice thick layer of Bondo on it, so this is going to need some work. I'm not a body man. It's a little outside my realm of comfort, that much body work, but we'll address those issues as we go. Now, the interior in this car is pretty much wretched. It's got some other non-Cougar bucket seats in it that were red. The car itself was originally green, so it's red and green. Fortunately, the trim panels are all black, so they kind of match. But even these aftermarket seats are in pretty rough condition. The seat covers that were on them are just as rough as anything else. Headliner, package tray, they're all junk. The dash, well, as you can see, the dash consists of some rather rotted wood trim stuff. I've got new ones, well, used ones I found on eBay that are in much better condition. We're going to be putting those in. I've got the horn button somewhere that goes on the steering wheel. We might put an aftermarket wheel on it, I don't know. And then I've got to do something with this crispy, crunchy thing here. It crumbles. It's not, it used to be vinyl. Now it's like high impact plastic or something. I can't even put one of those dash toppers on it. It's so distorted. It's bad. But all that stuff's available. I can get a brand new dash pad for this from West Coast Cougars, and it's only $559 or something. That's a lot of money for a cheapskate like me. But you know, a car like this, it might be worth it. Anyway, so we'll get some trim panels in it. Carpet kits are available. Headliner kits are available. Something this car had up here, all these wires, there was a little panel up here with some lights, additional extracurricular lights to tell us stuff. I don't know what I did with the panel, but a lot of cars didn't have that. I'll find the panel. We'll worry about it when it comes time to put the headliner in. Yeah, she's a mess, but hey, at least she runs now. Alright, let's give it a shot here. Give it a couple of squishes of fuel. Starts right up. A little cold yet. Tack works. Do have a brake light on. That's not good. Not sure what that's about yet. This brake system hasn't been touched in years, so it probably needs a good bleeding. But the pedal seems to work okay. she purrs. And at least you're not, you know, squirting fuel out of the carburetor everywhere, and you know, it's pretty close to running right. I still got to play with the timing a little and some other minor adjustments here and there, but overall, she's a runner. So that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of where we're at on this thing. This is kind of a long-term project. It's going to take a while. But, you know, it's been sitting here as yard art for 5 years. What's another 5 years, right? I may not be around in 5 years. You know, I'm old. So I guess I better pick it up a notch so I can get this done before I, you know, expire. Anyway, thanks for watching.